have you guys seen the new promotional video of the Moto Morini Vettore 450? Look pretty awesome off-road, right? Well, we got a pretty awesome day today. Moto Morini is about to pick me up, and we're taking some Vettore 450s out to meet up with Big Rock Moto out at his property. He lives out in the back country where there's trees and plenty off-road, and it's just beautiful. And me, Big Rock, and one of the Moto Morini sales reps is going to take those bikes out and see what they can do off-road ourselves. So stick around. All right, my coach has arrived. Let's see what's inside this bad boy. Ooh, there we go. There we go. All right, let's do this. All right, so this is John, the National Sales Manager with Moto Morini USA. So John, I heard that the first shipment of Vettore 450s that came in was sold before they even arrived, and you guys are burning through the second shipment pretty quickly. What do you attribute to the popularity of the Vettore 450?
Well, I'd say that right now one of the fastest categories in sales of motorcycles happens to be in the small adventure class, and there's a lot of riders that are doing the BDR events. And when you go off-road, you know, the bigger motorcycles are just a lot. And there's a lot of riders that are like myself that might have some gray hair and so forth, and moving a big bike around, whether that's a 1300 or even 890 or a 790, that's a lot of motorcycle. You go to save that thing from falling over. So this 450 class is fantastic. The twin cylinder engine of the Vettore has great power. I've been really surprised with the 270 degree crank and just the light feeling of the crank, quick revving, but it's smooth. You can ride it on the freeway. So for a BDR adventure type of riding, it's great on the freeway, but then also it's light enough that you can maneuver it off-road. It's got good travel, KYB suspension, over 8 inches of travel on the fork and 7.5 in the back. So it really can do both some pretty good off-road riding and some street sections, and it's just way better than a single. I spent a lot of time on DRZ 400s and other single cylinders just droning on the highways for an hour straight, and this twin just puts them to shame. It's so much better. So it's a great bike and just fun to ride. So I think that's why the category is growing, and we're excited to bring this bike to the public.
And you'd say the bike's pretty much a great value, right?
Yeah, it's $64.99. That is, a whole lot of motorcycles. So especially when we're comparing it to adventure bikes that sometimes cost $30,000 or more. So you can ride it. If it does fall, if it crashes, you dent things, you scratch things, it's not really that big of a deal. You don't have to cry every time about your motorcycle.
All right, let's do this. So right now we're just gonna go about 10 minutes down the street, get us some Mexican food, because it's about 11 o'clock and we got about a 2-hour ride in the dirt, so we want to make sure our bellies are full before we commit to that. Got Big Rock Moto in front of me, John behind me. Alright, so we're leaving the street, hitting the dirt. Let's see what this bad boy can do. I've got the TCS, the traction control turned off, and the ABS turned off. Yeah, now I can get the back end loose. I gotta get used to these tires. I have no idea how they'll work on the dirt. This dirt's pretty soft. You definitely don't want to over rev this motor because it just flattens out, so make sure you shift before the RPMs get too high. Yep, ABS is definitely turned off on the back, and then we're hitting some gnarlier stuff. Okay, so at some point I'll get behind both of you guys. I'll go back and forth between you two because he's filming right now also. So
somebody just right behind me and I'll get...
Yeah, you just lead on and then we'll make it happen.
Alright, so I'm going to follow him, you're following me, is that right, Scott?
Yeah, and then I'll get in front of you and then I'll get behind him. Alright, let's see what this thing can do. So obviously we're filming. Standing up on the bike feels totally comfortable. Handlebar positioning, foot peg positioning, it's all good. A little bit rocky out here. Now, if you're gonna go off-road, I highly suggest that you air down your tires. Now, one thing about this kind of a road, little safety feature is blind corners. Just watch out for someone coming the other way, because head-on collisions never do you much good. But right now the suspension feels solid. We do have the rear shock preload dialed in 3 3/4 turns, and on the forks we've got two lines out on the preload. Power's fun. Like, this road's kind of choppy and like little rain ruts and stuff, and it feels pretty stinking good. Very rocky. Tires are okay. They're not, obviously not a very super aggressive knobby tire. So when you're in the dirt, you need to be cautious of that. Now we stop back there and now we stop back there and my ABS kicked back on and my traction control turned on, so the bike, I need to stop and turn that off. So just be aware, anytime you turn off your bike, you have to reset all that stuff. But the suspension, really happy with it. The torque in the motor is really good. I mean, you can kind of lug it and then just crank the throttle and it pulls out of it. You don't have to have the RPMs very high. Boy, there's a lot of these turn. But with the suspension the way it is right now, I'm content with it. The stock just dialed in. I don't think it really needs any revalving or higher spring rate, but it's obviously need more time on the bike. Alright, so that's better. I got the traction control turned off and the ABS turned off. The hot ticket is don't turn off the key if you're stopping briefly. Just turn off the right side handlebar switch to turn off the motor. That'll keep the TCS and the ABS disengaged. As soon as you turn that key off, it re-engages, so it makes a huge difference in the dirt. But the bike feels light and agile. So this type of off-roading, it's great, doing great. Like I said, the tires aren't super tractionable, but not bad too. I'm just riding like a normal medium adventure speed. A lot of these corners have sand in them and your front end wants to tuck if you're not careful. But on this bumpy stuff, it's great. Try to attack things a little harder. Yeah, good. I'm impressed. Fun turn, big old ball turn. So you can attack this stuff, hop right over that rut. I mean, yeah, good stuff. I love how the clutch is really easy to pull in, keeps your arm from getting pumped up at all. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that to get the front end light over stuff isn't so easy because of the smaller CCs. If there's a hump, you know, you can loft the front end up and get it airborne. But if you want to like wheelie over a rut or something, it's definitely going to take quite a bit of work. It can maybe be done like this hump right here. You can get the front end up, no problem because of the bump. But if that bump wasn't there, I couldn't have done that. But the bike feels planted, even on this soft, center stand hit a rock. Even on this soft, rocky soil, and there's like a light granite on top, I feel confident, you know, even in these turns, just standing up, weighting the outside foot peg. It's doing great. You can see how rocky. The having just the rear ABS turned off isn't a problem. I haven't really been slamming on the front brake. Let me try front brake and see what happens. Yeah, the front brake did its job. I mean, it's not like ABS kicked in and kept me from slowing down. Whoa. Let's try it again here on the straightaway. Wow. That front brake does fantastic. I grabbed it pretty hard and I thought TCS would kind of chatter, but it's almost like it doesn't have it. If somebody asked me if I had I'm sorry, ABS, not TCS. If somebody told me that there was ABS in the front, okay, there it goes. I got it to kick in that time because the dirt was sandy. So there you go. On sandy conditions, the ABS will kick in more than if it's compact. So something to think about. Dude, I haven't done off-road like this in too long. I mean, I grew up riding dirt bikes, racing motocross, got to the pro level, but I just haven't been in the dirt much lately. This is fun. Really enjoy this bike. On this more technical kind of stuff, the smaller motor with the lighter weight, it's ideal. Very torquey engine. It's nice. You can lug it, crank it, and it just takes off. Yeah, this is nice through here. Well, I don't really know what else to tell you guys about this bike's capabilities off-road. I'm thoroughly impressed. I didn't think the suspension was going to be this great at absorbing everything I'm hitting, and I could hit some heavier stuff and it'd be fine. So power's great, brakes are great, tires are doing a good job. I mean, it's a great tire because it'll do great on the street. It's super quiet on the street. I didn't hear the tires at all. And it's doing a good job here in this dirt. Soft dirt, compact dirt. So it's a good balance. All in all, I'm impressed. Get a little more aggressive here. Ooh. I just don't like all these rocks.
All right, so overall this bike did fantastic off-road. On the street that we did going there, we got this thing up to about 80, 85. Bike is super smooth, going 80, 85 miles an hour. Already cracked the throttle. It's not like you're having to wring it out to go that fast. So highway miles are easy. Bike was super smooth. The RPMs at 80 miles an hour was around 7,000, but it didn't feel like you're just like, meh. It felt perfectly fine. The bike doesn't fight you in the corners, and it is so smooth. I can't believe, the amount of vibration in this thing is super minimal, even at higher speeds on the freeway. Yeah, you're gonna get a little bit more wind than most adventure bikes, but what you can do on the shield here is there's a little lever here on this side here, and spring loaded, and you just push it back, and you can adjust the shield wherever you want it. I kept it adjusted all the way forward. It definitely makes a difference between all the way back and all the way forward. So really this bike right here is so universal between dirt and street. You know, if you're logging tons of street miles, you may want something more, but the thing actually does really good. And I was really surprised how good it did in the dirt, because I come from, you know, motocross bikes, and she did well. So let's just take a couple minutes. I'll show you some of the details of the bike you're probably wondering about. Knowing about them is one thing, taking a closer look at them is kind of another thing, so let's check it out. So let's start with the motor. I really like the motor in this bike. The torque is perfect, and for it being a 450, plenty of power. You are looking at it just under 49 horsepower, 31 foot-pounds of torque. It does have a slipper clutch, and this is the same motor that's actually in the CF Moto Ibex 450. They're sharing this engine, so that bike's pretty popular. So this one here should be just as popular, if not more. Up front, you got a J1 caliper doing the duties, and you actually have a floating front rotor. That's pretty cool. The forks worked great. They are 41 millimeter Kayabas, 8.2 inches of travel. And since this bike's so off-road savvy, you are getting a 21-inch wheel. It's got the tangential spokes, which are the spokes that go to the outside of the rim, because they are tubeless. And I think that even makes them stronger. You do get a high front fender. It is a split fender. It's high here, but then it's low back here. And why do you back here? And then why do you do that? Because it allows more airflow into the radiator. The front fender's not blocking the radiator at all. Very unusual front end setup. I do like it. I think it looks very cool. It's clean, it's minimal. These lights are super bright at night. Can't believe how bright they are. These cool running lights right here. And like I said, an adjustable windscreen. Comes with the hand guards. They're plastic, but they're very sturdy. And yes, the blinkers are in the hand guards. I think it's cool. Some people are gonna be like, well, they're just gonna get damaged. And that could be. Come around here to the gas tank. It has these very unusual tank bag mounts. They just kind of give the bike a cool industrial look. And you do have a nice large metal gas tank, 4.9 gallons of fuel. Come down here to the foot pegs. Now these foot pegs come with rubber inserts that are about a ½ inch tall. I always take them out. I like the more traction, a wider foot peg, and it gives you a little more, you know, room in the cockpit. So you do get a center stand with the bike, which, believe it or not, that thing was not flapping all over the place when I was riding in the dirt. And I love having a center stand because you can park the bike, change out your tire, adjust your chain, lube your chain, clean your back wheel. If you don't want to run it, simply unbolt it. The exhaust is very nice, stainless steel with a heat guard on it. This bike sounds so cool. I mean, yeah, it does kind of have that quiet stock sound, but it's got the 270-degree crank in that motor, which is just a very unique sound, kind of a thumpier sound. And you put an exhaust on this thing and it sounds phenomenal. I have heard the Ibex 450 with an exhaust on there, like from Yoshimura, and it really wakes up the sound of this bike. Got some cool LED lighting back here, nice and clean. Luggage rack, you want to add some luggage, no problem. Passenger handles or to strap down your luggage. It is a 2-piece seat, and for me, the rider's seat is a little bit close to the foot pegs. I would like to see a little more room there. On the rear, you got another J1 brake caliper and the tangential spork wheel. Tubeless, very nice. I love tubeless wheels on these bikes. Let's go up here to the dash. Got a 6-inch screen, which is very nice. Let's boot it up, show you a couple things on here. So usual, you got all your warning lights up here. Got your RPM here, gear selector, miles per hour, fuel, water temp, mileage readings here. So I just want to show you real quick how to turn off the ABS. So you just push down on this right here, come over here and scroll to off-road mode. Very good. Then you come over here, press the set button, and it goes to this screen right here. It says press set to confirm. Starting off-road mode, ABS and TCS have been turned off. Press set again. And now you get this big indicator right here that shows you that you've turned off
the ABS and the traction control. So if you're in the dirt, definitely want to turn that off. So for the hand levers, very nice feel, good shape. You've got an adjustment wheel right here to adjust the reach. And you've got the same thing over here for the front brake. I do want to mention that the forks are fully adjustable. You can adjust the preload, rebound, and compression. And I'm going to go over that with some settings for you here in a minute. For the shock, once again, Kayaba suspension, 7.5 inches of travel. And you can adjust the preload using those rings, and you can adjust the rebound. Now, a lot of people say, I can't ride an ADV bike. They're just too tall. Well, Moto Morini is known for having some of the lowest ADV bikes out there. This one is no exception. The seat height, you're looking at 33.1 inches. And I'm sure once you sit on the bike, it's going to drop down even more. Here's another handy thing just below the TFT screen. Behind this panel right here is a USB-C port, so you can keep your devices powered up as you ride. You do get passenger foot pegs with rubber inserts. And another thing that's very nice about this bike is the adjustability in the handlebars. You've got 3 mounting positions here. Right now I'm in the middle one. You can go forward or back, and you can flip the riser right here because it's offset, so it gives you 6 different mounting positions. Now, top speed on this bike is rated at 93 miles an hour. I don't think you're going to want to go any faster than that because the wind's just going to be blasting on you. The dry weight is 419 pounds, and you've got a ground clearance of 8.5 inches. So since these bikes are set up for a 165-pound rider, I weigh 185. I imagine most of you guys are well above 165. We went ahead and dialed in the suspension before our ride today, and I'm going to show you what those settings are, and it's definitely going to make this bike more ideal for most of you off-road and on the street. So first thing we did was we adjusted the preload front and back, and that's how much the bike sags when you sit on it. You want to aim for about 2.5 inches of preload. We were getting quite a bit more than that, so what we did was we dialed in the preload, which is essentially this big nut right here. We dialed this in until you only see 2 lines. There's really faint lines on this thing here. It was at about 4 or 5. We dialed it into 2, so that set the preload on the front forks. Then we wanted to dial in the compression and the rebound. For compression is the right fork, and what we did was we turned it in all the way and dialed it out 7 clickers. Then on the other fork over there, the left fork, that's rebound, we dialed it in all the way and then backed it out 16 clicks. For the rear Kayaba shock, we took the spring, loosened up those rings, and we turned the spring 3.5 turns. Then we locked it down. Then if you come down here to the bottom, underneath the shock, let's see if I can get a shot of that. See that gold knob? So what you want to do is turn that in all the way and then back that out 16 clicks. And since you'd really classify this as an adventure bike, first thing I always think about is, what about accessories? Well, Moto Morini does have a series of their signature accessories for this bike. Starting with the main ones would be luggage. They got a pair of hard cases for the side and a top box. They're lockable, they're waterproof. Very nice premium units. You can get an aluminum skid plate. They do have a larger windscreen to break the wind. And then you can also get a heated seat and heated handle grips. And then you can also buy a full set of drop bars. So go over to the website, motomorinigusa.com. You can check those out. And just like all Moto Morini motorcycles, this bike comes with a 3-year unlimited warranty. Try finding that from the other bikes. Even the Ibex is only 2 years. So this bike is a lot of machine for only $64.99 MSRP. That is crazy. A lot of people want to bash these bikes because they are made in China, but I tell you what, I've experienced all the Moto Morinis, and every single one feels solid, looks very well made. If you didn't know where it was made, you'd have no idea, thinking that it's, made in China. Obviously it's made in China. The only way you can tell this thing's made in China is because it actually is, and they use their own tier 1 factory, which, is just an amazing, amazing factory where these things are made, high quality control. So, like I said, this bike is amazing, and I can see why
they're selling so fast. You know, I'm used to the big bore bikes, 1000 cc's and up, and I had a really good time riding this thing. Dirt, street, does a great job. Anyhow, if you want to learn even more about the bike, go over to motomorinigusa.com. Check out the Vettore 450. And if you want to get one, I wouldn't suggest dilly-dally around. I would say get down to your dealer right now. If they don't have the Vettore in stock, ask them to get one. They can have one shipped into you. Anyways, guys, that should do it for this video. I will catch you next time. Peace.